It's not like, 3 out of 4 is 75%, Okay, page 111. Ahava Rabba Havtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedala V'Teira Chamalta Aleinu Avinu Malkeinu Bavor Avoteinu Shebatchu V'cha Avinu Malkeinu V'atlamdem Chukei Chayim Kein Techanenu Utlamdenu Avinu Ha'av Harachaman Hamrachem Rachem Aleinu V'tein Libenu Lehavin Lahavinu L'Haskil Lishmoa Li'amod U'Lilamed Lishmor V'Lasot U'Kayem Et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha B'Yahava V'Ha'er Einenu B'Toratecha V'Dabek Libeinu B'Mitzvotecha V'Yached Levavenu V'Yahava U'Yira Et Shemecha V'lo nevosh le'olam va'ed V'lo nevosh le'olam va'ed Ki v'shem kodshecha hagadol v'hanara b'tachnu Nagila v'nismecha b'shuatecha Vahavienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'tolichenu kamemiyut li'artzenu ki el poel Yeshua data uvanu v'charto mikolam v'lashon V'kerav tanu l'shimcha hagado selo be'emet lahodot lecha uyachedcha be'ahava baruch atah Adonai habocher b'yamo Yisrael be'ahava Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavecha V'chol nafshecha V'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom alevavecha Vishinam tam levanecha v'dibar tabam V'shiftecha b'beitecha U'v'lechtecha v'derech U'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha U'kshartam liot al-yodecha V'hayu letotafot b'neinecha U'chtavtam amudot beitecha U'v'yisharecha V'haya Im shamoet tishmu el mitzvotai Asher Anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom lahava et Adonai Elohechem lavdo bechol levavachem uvechol nafshechem v'natati mitartechem b'ito yoreh u'malkosh v'asavta diganecha v'tiroshcha v'yitzarecha v'natati eiseh b'saracha livhemtecha v'yachalta v'chavata Hishamru lachem pen yiftem levavachem v'sartem v'avaretem Elohim acherim v'yishtachmitem lahem v'charav bachem v'yatar t'shamayim v'lo yematar v'hadama lo titain et yivela v'avaretem me'era me'al harta tova asher Adonai noten lachem v'samtem et davrei ele al levavachem v'yal nafshechem v'kshartem otam liot al yedechem v'hayu letotafot b'neinechem v'limadatem otam et b'nechem ledaber bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha Uchtav tam amzizot beitecha uvisharecha. Lema'an yirbu yimechem v'mevenechem al ha'adama asher nishbad anoi lavotechem lotek lohem kemei hashemayim al ha'aretz. 113. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amart alehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'gdehem l'doratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'til techelet v'ayalachem l'tzitzit uritem oto v'zkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam Velo taturu acharei levavachem v'acharei nechem asher tem zonim achareihem lema'an tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We continue on page 113 in the English, bottom half of the page. Reading responsibly. Your teaching is true and enduring. Your words are established forever. They are eloquent, majestic, and pleasant, our precious, everlasting legacy.
Truth is the eternal God is our sovereign, that our progeny is our protecting shield.
God is eternal and eternally glorious, our God for all generations. God's sovereign throne is firmly established. God's faithfulness endures for all time.
God's teaching are precious and abide and they live forever.
For our ancestors, for us, for our children, for every generation of the people of Israel, for all ages, from the first to the last, God's teachings are true, everlasting.
It is true that you are Adonai, our God, even as you are the God of our ancestors.
Our sovereign and our ancestors' sovereign, our Redeemer and our ancestors' Redeemer, our Creator, our victorious stronghold, you've always helped us and saved us.
We name yours forever, there is no God but you.
We continue in the Hebrew, 4 lines from the bottom of page 113. Emet shatahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohe avotenu, malkeinu melech avotenu, go'aleinu go'el avotenu, yotrenu tzor yeshuatenu, podenu matzilenu, me'elam shemecha, ein Elohim zulatecha. We continue at the top of 114 in the davening, and then we'll join together 5 lines above the bottom of that first paragraph. Ezrat avotenu atuhu me'olam, lakeinu Hashem v'nehem, kodor bador. Ram v'nisa gadol v'nora mashpil ge'im u'magbi ashifalim motzi asirim ufodei anavim v'yozer dalim v'yoneli amo b'yeit shavam elav. Please rise. Tehilot le'el elyon baruch hu barach Moshe uvnei Yisrael lecha anu shira v'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam micha mocha bo'elim Adonai micha mocha nedar b'kodesh nahara tehilot osei pele Shira chadasha shibchu geulim l'shimcha rasafat hayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlechu ve'amru Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed Sur Yisrael kuma b'ezrat Yisrael uftechu mecha Yehuda b'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzavot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai Go'al Yisrael. Yamidah can be found starting on page 115b and we will read it together, including the Kedusha on 116. We'll read it together to the conclusion on page 120. Again, starting in 115b. Adonai Smatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tilatecha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Hagadol Hagibor Mahanara El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'Nehem B'Ma'an Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Fokei Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham U'Fokei Sarah Atah Gibor Li'Olam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atarav L'Hoshia Morid Hatal Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayim Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim B'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Kayim Emunato L'Shenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Kivuro U'Mido Melech Melech Memid U'Mechayeh U'Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'emanat Alachayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai B'Chayei HaMeitim Nekadesh Et Shimcha Ba'olam Keshem Shemakdishim Oto Bishmei Marav Kakatu Al Yad Nevi'echa V'karad Ze El Ze Ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzavot Melech Haaretz Kivodo Az B'kol Rash Gadol Adir V'chazak Mashmim Kol Meet Nasim Liumat Serafim Le'umatam Baruch Yomeru Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkomo Mimkom Chamalkeinu Tofia V'timlu Chaleinu Ki Mechakim Anachnu Lach Matai Timloch B'Tzion B'Karov B'Yameinu Li'olam V'Ed Tishkon Titgadal V'Titgadash B'toch Yerushalayim Ercha Ledor V'dor O Netzach Netzachim V'eineinu Tirenu Malchutecha Kadavar Hamor B'shirei Uzecha Al Yedei David Mashiach Tzidkecha Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Etzion Ledor V'dor Hallelujah Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor Nagid God Lecha Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor Nagid God Lecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushas Chanakdish Kedushat Chanakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Lo Yamush Li'olam Va'ed Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor Nagid God Lecha Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor
Ledor Vador,
Ledor V'dor Nagid God Lecha Ki Melech Gadol V'kadosh Ata V'kadosh Ata כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, וקדוש אתה לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גוד לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גוד לך, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. ישמח משה במתנת חלקו כי עבד נאמן קראת לו, כליל תפארת בראשו נתתו ביעמדו לפניך על הר סיני, ושני לוחות אבנים הוריד בידו, וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, וכן כתוב בתורתך, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ולא נתתו אדוני אלוהינו לגר הרצון, ולא הנחלתו מלכנו לעובדי פסילים, וגם בנוחתו לא ישכנו ערלים, כי לישראל עמך נתת ביאבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת. עם מקדשי שביעי, כולם יספו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו. חמדת יומים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו, אלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו. קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. צווינו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך. וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה וברצון. שבת קודשך, וינוחו בו ישראל, מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ובתפילתם, והשבת עבודה לדביר ביתך. ותפילתם באהבה תקבל ברצון, ותהי ברצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. מודים אנחנו לך, שתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן ישנו, עתהו לדור ודור. נודה לך נספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידך, ויעל נשמתנו הפקודות לך. ויעל ניסך שבך ימימנו, ויעל נפלותך וטובתך, שבך עת ערבות גבר צהריים. Tov ki lo chalu rachamecha, v'amrachem ki lo tamu chasedecha, ve'elam ki vinu la. V'yau kulam yiprach v'yitramam shimcha malkeinu tomid li'olam bo'ed. V'chol ha'chayim yidu chasela, v'halu et shimcha be'emet, ohel Yeshuatenu v'yezratenu selah. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha v'chano et lehodot. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, Barchenu barbracham shaleshet b'Torah, hakatuva yidei Moshe avdecha, hamura mipi Aaron v'anav kohanim am kedoshecha ka'amor, yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Cain Yiratzon.
Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
Cain Yiratzon.
Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Cain Yiratzon.
Sim shalom balam, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam, sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barchenu avinu kulanu kecha bior panecha. Sim shalom balam, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam, sim shalom tova uvracha. Ki v'yor panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chayim v'ahavat chesed u'tzedakah uvracha v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom. Sim shalom balam, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam, sim shalom tova uvracha. V'tov b'necha levarech et amecha Yisrael, v'chol eit uv'choshav b'shlomecha. Sim shalom balam, sim shalom tova uvracha ba'olam, sim shalom tova uvracha. Baruch Adonai havarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Please remain standing as we continue on page 138 with the Kaddish Shalem, page 138. Yitgadal v'yitgada shemei Rabba.
Amen.
B'yamad divrachi v'yitev emlech malchutei b'chayechanu v'yamechanu b'chaydecha beit Yisrael b'gala b'zman kari v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach v'yolam olam me'omaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitala shemei kudushav le'ela min kabarchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran v'yama v'yimru titkabel tzlotonu v'oton d'chol Yisrael kadamavu and divishmaya v'yimru Yehi shlom arov min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru Oseh shalom b'mramav Uyaseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru imru amen. Yaseh shalom shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. 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 V'yimeru.
Amen.
You may be seated. The Torah service will begin on page 138. In your Eitz Chaim, we're going to be reading on page 1140. It's Ki Tavo from the book of Deuteronomy. So page 1140 will be the Torah reading. It'll begin with Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 1. In the Eitz Chaim. For Aliyahs, who would like an Aliyah? Okay. Everyone. We have 7 plus Mafter. So everyone, would you like number 1?
Eitan Kohen?
It's okay. Sure. Well, okay, give us a few minutes. We'll give it. Why don't you take 1, 2, 3, 4, Dan 5. Naomi, do you want one or no? It's up to you.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine, that's
What
fine.
is-
What's this?
What is
The reading, the blessing for the Baruch Adonai Havarach.
I'll wait until I'm more.
That's fine. So 5, Don, why don't you take 6?
6,
Well, the other way.
3 and 6.
3 and 6, and why don't you take 7?
Okay, sure.
Well, as well as the other one that I gave you.
Okay.
And then I'll do them after. Don, do you want to lead any of this? Or
Maybe my brother would like to.
would you like to do the Ein Kamocha? What is your brother's name, by the way? Mort, nice to meet you. Welcome. Would you like to lead us in the Ein Kamocha?
Okay, sure.
We can do it together if you want. Page 139. Come right up here. Yep. So page 189. 139. 139. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Inflation
139.
hits everything.
It does. 139 with the Ein Kamocha.
Ein kamocha b'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol omamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom avorachamim eitiva v'irtzonecha et Zion tivnecha mot Yerushalayim tivnecha mot Yerushalayim Ki v'chol levad batachnu melech elron v'nisa Adon olamim Vayehi b'Saharon Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai v'yafutzu oivecha Ve'yanusu misanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion teitzei Torah Ki mitzion teitzei Torah Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Li'amo Yisrael, B'Kedusha, Baruch Shemei Demorei. I'm on page 139, bottom paragraph. Let's read together in the English. Ruler of the universe, praised be your name.
May the favor abide with the people of Israel, and may your redeeming power reveal to them in your sanctuary. Bless us with your might and your compassion, and accept our prayer. May it be your will to grant us long life and well-being, to count me among the righteous, and send me my family, and all your people Israel with compassion, and nourish and sustain all life, and rule over all kings, for dominion is yours.
Continuing in the English in the top of 140 together. I am the servant of the Holy One, revere in whose Torah I reveal at all times.
Not on mortals do I rely, nor on angels do I depend, but on the God of the universe, the God of truth, whose Torah is truth, whose prophets are truth, and who abounds in deeds of goodness and truth. In God do I put my trust, to God's holy name, precious being, do I utter praise. O my heart to your Torah, answer my prayers and the prayers of all your people, for goodness, for life, and for peace. Amen.
Be'anarachetz Ve'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anai Martush Bechod Be'anarachetz Be'anarachetz Ve'lishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Anai Martush Bechod Yehera Avakadamach V'tiftach libi b'oraita V'tashli mishalim delibi V'liba dechal amach Yisrael L'tov v'chayim v'lishlam Amen. We turn to page 1.
141. Would you like to hold the Torah? Sure. Okay, just give me a second. Get this up there. Page 141.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai iti, Uneromima Shemo Yachtav.
Adonai Hagedula, Hagevura, Hatiferet, Vehanetzach, Vehahod. Kicho bashamayim uvaretz, Kicho bashamayim uvaretz. L'cha Adonai hamamlacha, v'yamit naseh l'cha. Rosh Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu, Ladon Raglav Kadoshu. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu, Mehar
Kadisho.
Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. You may be seated. I have the other. Yep, I got it.
So one more.
Oh,
Oh,
you want to get me?
I can
Put it right there.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you may be seated. Again, we'll find the Torah reading on page 1147. It'll start in chapter 26, verse 1.
1140.
Yeah, 1140. V'rachmin hu yerchem amusim v'yizkor b'reis teitinim v'atzil nafshotein u'min hashot haro v'yigar v'yisra min atzuim v'chonu tonu liflei tatolim v'yimalei mashalatin b'min atova yeshuv v'rachmim v'yazor v'yagain v'yoshil chosam bo v'nomar
Amen.
hakol avu gadol le'nehenu nechava la'torah ya'amod
Moshe ben Yaakov v'Bela.
ben Yaakov v'Bela harishon bimkom HaKohen, Baruch Shanatan Torah le'amar Yisrael b'dusha tova, Tem habikim banohechem chayim chochem hayom.
You on the right page?
We should be. Hang on a second. I said it this morning, so it should be easy to find. It's the Hayaki Tavo, right?
Baruch hu et Adonai Barach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam
Baruch
Va'ed.
Adonai Barach Me'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'haya ki tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala v'rishta v'yashavta ba v'lakachta me'reshit kol peri ha'adama asher tavi me'artzecha Asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach v'samta v'teneh v'halachta el hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha l'shaken shemo sham uvata el hakohen asher yiyeh bayamim hahem v'amarta elav higadati hayom l'Adonai Elohecha ki vati el haaretz asher nishba Adonai lavotenu latet lanu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's how I remember.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
Yeah.
The second aliyah.
Side.
Yeah, here we go. The second aliyah can be found starting on page 1141 on verse 4. Ya'amod Yaakov ben Shlomo Hasheni V'Sarfredo Hasheni. Hang on 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's right there.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'la HaKohen hatenem mi yadecha v'hinicho lifnei mizbach Adonai Elohecha v'aniti v'amarta lifnei Adonai Elohecha Arami oved avi Vayered mitraima vayagar sham bimtei me'at vayehi sham v'goy gadol atzum varahav vayareu otanu hamitrim vaye'anunu Vayitnu aleinu ovadakasha vanitzak el Adonai Elohei avotenu vayishma Adonai et kolenu vayar et anyenu ve'et amalenu ve'et lachatzenu Vayotzienu Adonai mimitrayim biyad chazaka uv'ro'a netuya uv'mora gadol uv'otot uv'moftim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. I think Don has it next. I try to have the two brothers not go right together.
Okay.
Yeah, since you're close family relatives. Yeah. The third aliyah can be found starting on page 1141, and it'll start on verse 9. Ya'amod David ben Yaakov Lila Hashlishi. You're 3, right? Okay. Hang on a second. 1, 2.
Baruch Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'yavienu el hamakom hazeh vayiten lanu et haaretz hazot eret zavad chalav udvash ve'ata hine heveti et reshit peri ha'adama asher natata li Adonai v'hinachto Lifnei Adonai Elohecha, Vehish Tachavita Lifnei Adonai Elohecha, Vesamachta Bechol Hatov, Asher Natan Lecha, Adonai Elohecha Uvetecha, Ata v'halevi v'hager asher b'kirbecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua. The fourth aliyah can be found starting on page 1142 on verse 12, and it'll go until 15. Okay, Ya'amod. What's your Hebrew name again? Baruch Shlomo Ben Shmuel HaRevi'i. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chavanu mikol ha'amim hasan lanu es Torah. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki techale laser et kol masar tuvu atcha bashana hashlishit shenat hamaser benatata la levi lager la yatom v'la almana v'achlu bisharecha v'saveu ve'amarta lifnei Adonai Elohecha ve'arti hakodesh min habayit ve'gam nitativ la levi ve'lager la yatom ve'la almana kechol mitvatcha asher tzivitani lo avarti mi mitvotecha velo shachachti lo achalti ve'oni mimenu velo vi'arti mimenu bitame velo natati mimenu lemet shamati bekol Adonai Elohai asiti kechol asher tzivitani hashkifa nimon kadshecha min hashamayim uvarech et amcha et Yisrael ve'et adama asher natata lanu kasher nishbata la'avotenu eretz zavad chalav udvash.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasa lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua. The fifth aliyah will begin on page 1143, starting on verse 16. Ya'amod Daniel ben Avram v'Sarah ha'chamishi. It's going to be easy to be found.
Right.
Yeah, I like when there's a break right there.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Hayom hazeh Adonai Elohecha mitzavacha la'asot et hachukim ha'ele ve'et hamishpatim v'shamarta ve'asita otam b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha et Adonai he'emarta hayom liot lecha le'Elohim v'lalechet bidrachav v'lishmor chukav umitzvotav umishpatav v'lishmoa b'kolo v'Adonai he'emircha hayom liot lo le'am segula kasher diber lach v'lishmor kol mitzvotav ultitcha elyon al kol hagoyim asher asa litila u'leshem ultifaret v'liotcha am kadosh l'Adonai Elohecha kasher diber.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet b'chayei olam natah b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yashikoach. The sixth aliyah will begin on page 1144. It'll be in chapter 27, verse 1. Ya'amod David ben Yaakov v'Layla. Let's do it from the beginning. Ya'amod
David
David
ben
ben Yaakov v'Bela.
Like Bayam, but with an L.
V'Bela ha-shishi. So it's 6, right? Easy.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai
Baruch le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayitzav Moshe v'ziknei Yisrael et ha'am lemor shamor et kol hamitzvah asher anochi mitzave etchem hayom v'haya bayom asher ta'avru et hayarden El ha'aret asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach v'hakei mota lecha avanim gedolot v'sadeta otam basid v'chatavta alehen et kol divrei haTorah hazot be'avrecha leman asher tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha eretz zavat chalav udvash kasher diber Adonai Elohei avotecha lach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. At this time, between the 6th and 7th aliyah, we'll do Misha Berach for anyone in the community that is in need of healing. So we wish refuah shlema this morning to Ruth Bloom, Andrew Bosell, Pierre Chabad Bracha, Adrian Breitman, Todd Crago, Janet Finkel, Doris Fogel, Barb Gilbert, Bob Hochberg, Cookie Mathbaum, Laura Michaels, Kayla Nagel, Tom O'Neill, Debbie Sherray, Gary Smythe. Are there any other names?
Ronnie Greenberg and Marcia Reynolds. Both have COVID.
Not good.
Yaakov Nachum ben Tzipora Barachel.
Samantha Herman.
Jenny DiClemente, Blagedrig Neva, Marietta Fry, Rabbi Bargeron. Any other names, Ted? Mishe Beirach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Beirach Imotenu Makor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. The seventh Aliyah can be found starting on page 1145. It'll be on chapter 27, verse 5. And does anybody remember what number I read off?
Verse 5.
Was it 6 I said?
This is 7.
Well, I know, but what I gotta find it in here, so. Vayitzat Moshe, that was,
Sentence 4,
okay,
Pasuk 4 of chapter 27.
yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it was 6 up.
V'haya ba'av rechem et hayah.
I know, that's easy for you to say when you're looking at it in a book, it's a little harder, it's a little bit harder
Well,
to
I
find.
think English is a foreign
1,
language.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. V'haya ba'avrachem. I know we started here, yes, okay. What's the last word? Yeah, okay, I got it. And do you have the seventh Aliyah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
give it to
don't
you.
you take one?
Because I have them after.
Oh, be that way.
Unless you want to do the Haftarah, then I'll take 7. You can take
Had
them.
I 30 seconds advance warning, I would have done it.
Gotcha. So the seventh Aliyah will begin on page 1145, verse 5, right there. Ya'amod, it's verse
4.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, the verse 4. Yeah. Oh, he marked it
That's
at the
next
end
week.
of. Oh, that's interesting. He went to 4. I did 3 verses there, so we
Yeah.
were good. But this said 4, but he had it marked up here at the end of 3. But we're good. We
did
got 3
yep,
verses in.
right.
So Ya'amod,
Moshe Beresh
Hersh,
ben Yaakov v'Bela.
Yaakov v'Bela HaShvi.
You expect me to remember who I am?
Well, you're going to know better than I am.
Baruch hu Adonai Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Oh, we're going to go to. So ignore that ending. Just, okay. Amen. V'haya v'avrechem et hayarden takimu et havanim ha'ele asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom behar eval v'sadata otam basid Uvanita sham mizbeach ladonoi Elohecha mizbach avanim lo tanif aleihem barzel avanim shleim Shalemo tivneh et mizbach Adonai Elohecha v'ha'alita alav olot l'Adonai Elohecha v'zavachta shlamim v'achalta sham v'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha v'chatavta al ha'avanim et kol divrei haTorah hazod ba'er hetev vayadaber Moshe v'hakohanim halavim el kol Yisrael lemor hasket ushma Yisrael hayom haveh Niyeta le'am l'Adonai Elohecha v'samata b'kol Adonai Elohecha v'asita et mitzvotav et chukav asher anochi mitzavacha hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayil natan b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Yasher koach.
Yeah.
At this time, please rise for a Chatzit Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgada Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
V'yamad divrachi v'tei v'yamlich malchutei.
V'chayechonu v'yomechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael Ba'gala u'bizman kori
v'maru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach Le'olam olam eomaya Yitbarach Yitbrach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei Dekudisha Le'elo min kober chata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram b'yama v'yimeru.
Amen.
You may be seated. The Mafter Aliyah can be found starting on page 1145. It'll be starting on verse 7. It'll be starting on verse 7, so let me find it. The first word is Vazavachta Shlamim. Right there. Okay. We go from 7 to 10. You want to call me up? Yamod,
Yamod,
Shmuel,
Shmira,
Shmuel,
Shmuel,
Ben,
Ben,
Yitzchak,
Yitzchak,
Pircha,
Pircha,
Hamaftir.
Haravi,
Hamaftir.
Hamaftir. Haravi?
No, definitely not a Levi. Definitely not a Levi. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Amrach v'mavoed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chavanu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
וזבחת שלמים ואכלת שם, ושמחת לפני אדוני אלוהיך, וכתבת על האבנים את כל דברי התורה הזאת באר היטב, וידבר משה והכהנים הלווים אל כל ישראל לאמור, הסכת ושמע ישראל היום הזה, נהיית לעם לאדוני אלוהיך, ושמעת בקול אדוני אלוהיך, ועשית את מצוותיו ואת חוקיו, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu tarat emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Do we have volunteers to lift and to tie for the Haggadah Galila?
I'll lift, but somebody should get behind me.
Okay. We volunteer to tie and you'll, okay. So please rise.
Push down.
Let me hold them to the mic. Wait, I am. 1 second, Zach.
I'm gonna need a hand.
Okay. Got it? V'zot ha'torah asher sam Moshe livnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov. Let's go down. Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Morasha kehilat Yaakov,
Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Morasha kehilat Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
It's over there. You got it? Use this. You may be seated. The Haftarah for this morning will be found starting on page 1161. Ashikach. Here's your book. Somebody's book. Okay, we'll be starting on page 1161 from Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. The first word should be kumi. Is that correct? Good. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar binvim tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'amarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'vinviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Kumi ori kiva orech uchvod Adonai alayich zarach ki hine hachoshech yichaseh eretz va'arafel le'umi ve'alayich yizrach Adonai uchvodo alayich yera'eh והלכו גויים לאורך ומלכים לנוגה זרחן. שאי סביב עינייך וראי כולם נקבצו באו לך. בנייך מרחוק יבואו ובנותייך על צד תאמנה. אז תראי ונהרת ופחד ורחב לבבך, כי יהפך עלייך המון ים. חיל גויים יבואו לך, 7 גמלים תכסך, בכרי מדיין ואיפה כולם משווה יבואו, זהב ובונה יישאו, ותהילות אדוני יבשרו. כל צאן קדר יקבצו לך, אלי נוויות ישרתונך יעלו. הרצון מזבחי ובית תפארתי אפאר, מאלה כאב תעופנה וחיונים אל ארובותיהם. כי לי איים יקבו ועניות תרשיש בראשונה, להביא בנייך מרחוק כספם וזהבם איתם, לשם אדוני אלוהיך ולקדוש ישראל כי פארך ובנו וננחר חומותייך ומאחיהם ישרתונך, כי צבי הכיתיך וברצוני ריחמתיך, ופיתחו שערייך תמיד, יומם ולילה לא יסגרו, להביא אלייך אל גויים ומלכיהם נהוגים. כי הגוי והממלכה אשר יעבדוך יאבדו, והגויים חרוב יחרבו. כבוד הלבנון אלייך יבוא, בראש תדהר ותאשור יחדיו, לפאר מקום מקדשי ומקום רגלי אכבד. והלכו אלי שכוח בני מענייך, והשתחוו על כפות רגלייך כל מנעצייך, וקראו לך עיר אדוני ציון קדוש ישראל. תחת היותך עזובה ושנואה ואין עובר, ושמחתיך לגאון עולם משוש דור ודור. וינקת חלב גויים ושוד מלכים תינקי, וידעת כי אני אדוני מושיעך וגואלך אביר יעקב. תחת הנחושת אבי זהב, ותחת הברזל אבי כסף, ותחת העצים נחושת, ותחת האבנים ברזל, ושמתי פקודתך שלום, ונוגסייך צדקה. לא יישמע עוד חמס בארצך, שוד ושבר בגבולייך, וכרת ישועה חומותייך, ושערייך תהילה. לא יהיה לך עוד השמש לאור יומם, ונוגה הירח לא יאיר לך, והיה לה אדוני לאור עולם, ואלוהיך לתפארתך. לא יבוא עוד שמשך בירכך לא יאסף, כי אדוני יהיה לך לאור עולם, ושלמו ימי אבלך. ועמך כולם צדיקים לעולם, Yirshu Aretz Neitzer Matai Maaseh Yadai Lihit Pa'er Hakaton Yeh Lo Elef V'Hatzair Legoy Atzum Ani Adonai Bi'ita Achi Shena Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam tzor kol amim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yoseh v'naber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim divarecha v'davar echad mivarecha achor lo yeshuv reikam ki hamelech ne'eman v'rachaman atah baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol devarav Rachem al Tzion ki beit chayenu v'lalu vat nefesh toshia b'mhirav yomeinu baruch atah Adonai mesamech Tzion b'vaneho samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi avdecha v'malchut beit David mishichecha b'mhira yavo v'yagel libeinu al kiso lo yeshev zar v'lo yinchalo od achirim et kavodo ki v'shem kodshecha nishpat lo shelo yichben ero li'olam v'ed baruch atah Adonai Magen David, Al HaTorah, V'al Havodah, V'al Hanvim, V'ayom Shabbat Hazeh, Shanatat Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, L'Tishav L'Mnucha, L'Chavod U'Tifaret, Al HaKol, Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Lach, V'Varchim Otach, Yibrach Shimcha B'Ficha Chai Tamid L'Olam, V'ed Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Why is this mata'ah written small and without vowels?
Where are you seeing that?
At the very bottom,
Oh, in the Haftarah?
Yeah.
because
Where is it?
two different words. Transcription.
Yeah.
It's-
Is there
They think
no-
there might
is there
be a
no-
transcription error, and so you say one word one way, even though it's written the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. So notice how that's close to it, but this ends with a resh and that ends with a yayin.
Right.
So we pronounce it mata'ai,
Yeah.
right? Even though, I don't know Hebrew well enough to know what
I
the
don't
word
know.
means. Yeah.
Right, it's a case of they think that there were only originally a very few number of written codexes written. So
Right.
they think that the few they had a wrong writing, because it makes more sense one way. So you read it, it's written one way, but you read it the other.
And I think in here, it's probably just, I didn't notice that it, let's see what page it was on. I don't know what verse that was on. Kitavo. 154. Do you remember what verse that was on? Oh, it was near the end.
Right.
Yeah, so this actually doesn't even write it the other way. It just has it the way that you would say it, which is with the ayin rather than the resh. So that's why I wouldn't even have noticed it in this book. Yeah. Okay, we continue with some English readings on page 148. Let's read together the prayer for the congregation. Together, may the blessings of heaven, passion, long life, ample substance, well-being, and healthy children.
May the sovereign of the universe bless you and each of your days and your years. May you be spared all the diseases, the distress and diseases. May our protector in heaven be your help at all times. And let us say, Amen.
Let's continue with a prayer for those who serve the community together. May God, who blessed our ancestors,
Bless us, our congregation, together with all holy congregations. Your sons and daughters, their families, and all that is theirs. All those who unite to establish synagogues for prayer, and those who get unto them to pray, and those who give funds for Edomite, and wine and Kiddush for of God. Friends of the wayfarer and charity to the poor, and now devoutly involve themselves with the needs of the community in the land of Israel. The Holy One reward them, remove sickness from them, heal them, and forgive their sins. May God bless them by making all their worthy endeavors prosper, as well as all those of the entire people of Israel.
Let us say Amen. Continuing a prayer for our country together in English. Our God and God of our ancestors,
We ask your blessing for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insight from your Torah that they may minister all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in you. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of the country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds of common bond and true harmony to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions of the pride and glory of our country. May this land under your providence be an influence throughout the world,
uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say Amen. Together, a prayer for the state of Israel, the top of 149. Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, rock and redeemer of the people of Israel. Bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. Let us say Amen. Responsibly a prayer for peace. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world.
the nation of the nation of mankind will not begin no more.
For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or to destroy. We have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love.
Compassion, God, bless the leaders with all patience with the power of compassion.
Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I'll bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you.
I will remember that this peace and it shall not be broken forever.
Let love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Let peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say,
Amen.
let's continue with the Ashrei on page 151. 151. Ashrei Yoshvei Ve'techa Od Yehalelu Sela. Ashrei Ha'am Shekach Lo. Ashrei Ha'am Shadonai Eloha. Tehillah LeDavid Aramim Chayam Melech V'varcha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. V'cha Yom Avarcheka V'halala Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Gadol Adonai Umhula Me'od. V'ligdu Lato Ein Cheker. Dor LeDor Yishabach Ma'asecha U'gvuratecha Yagidu. Hadar Kivod Hodecha V'divrei Niflotecha Asiyecha. Ve'ezuz Nortecha Yomeru Ugdu Lotecha Asaprena. Zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabiu V'tzipkatcha Yiranenu Chanun V'rachum Adonai. Erech Apayim U'dochaseh Tov Adonai La'kol V'rachamav Al Kol Ma'asav. Yiduch Adonai Kol Ma'asecha V'chasidecha Yivarchucha. Kevod Malchutcha Yomeru Ugvuratcha Yidaberu Le'adei Be'adam. Kevurotov V'chod Hadar. Malchutcha Malchut Ka'olamim U'memshaltecha Be'echad Dor V'dor. V'lech Adonai B'chol Hanoflim V'zokef Lecha Kfufi. Einechai Lecha Yisaberu V'yatonetin Lahem Et Achlam B'ito. Poteach Et Yadecha U'maspia Lecha Charotzah. Sadik Adonai B'chol Derachav V'chasid B'chol Ma'asav. Karov Adonai L'chol Korav L'chol Asher Yikru Ve'emet Ritzon Yireyav Yaseh. V'yet Shabbatam Yishma V'yoshim Shomer Adonai Et Kol Ahabav. V'yet Kol Harshaim Yashvi. Tilat Adonai Yedaber Pi V'rech Kabasar Shem Chad Elam Voed. V'anachnu Nevorech Ya Me'ata V'yad Olam. Hallelujah. As we turn to page 153 to return the Sefer Torah, please rise. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki Niskav Shemo Levado.
Odo Eretz Shamayim,
Vayolem
Kerem Me'av, V'yimal B'chol Chasidah, Livnei Yisrael Am Karovo.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, Mizmor Leda David. Havu Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu Adonai kavod v'oz, Havu Adonai kavod shemo, Hishachavu Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el arkavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai b'hadar, Kol Adonai shomer arazim, V'shaber Adonai yedar zehavonam, Vayakidem kemo egel levanon v'sirion kemo ben reimim. Kol Adonai chotzet lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kodesh, Kol Adonai yechol le'ayalot, V'yechesof yarot v'hechalo kulo amer kavod. Adonai lamal bo yashav v'yeshev Adonai melech le'olam, Adonai oz v'yamo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. The bottom of 154. V'nuchal yomar shiv Adonai v'ridot alfei Yisrael. Kol Adonai v'nuchal terecha ata v'yavro uzecha kohanecha yil b'shut tzedek b'chasidecha yiranenu ba'avur David avdecha al tashev pnei meshichecha ki lekach tov natati lochem torati al ta'azovu eitz chayim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh yameinu Chadesh yameinu tekedem. You may be seated. I didn't prepare a devar for this morning. I didn't find out till this morning the rabbi wasn't going to be here. If you'd like, and it's totally up to you, I did print out Rabbi Sachs's commentary on today's Torah reading. If you want, I can read it. He's pretty good. If you've
We heard
ever
it last night.
what's that?
We heard it last
Oh,
night.
you did hear it last night?
Rabbi Saxon? No, I didn't. No. No.
Would you like to hear it?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Rabbi Saxon?
Ooh.
Saxophone.
Jonathan, Jonathan
I
Sachs. He
played
was
French horn.
the chief rabbi from the UK. So these are his words. I'm referencing him. I take no credit for anything that's written here, and it's well written. One reason religion has survived in the modern world, despite 4 centuries of secularization, is that it answers the 3 questions every reflective human being will ask at some time in his or her life. Who am I? Why am I here? How then shall I live? These cannot be answered by the 4 great institutions of the modern West: science, technology, the market economy, and the liberal democratic state. Science tells us how, but not why. Technology gives us power, but cannot tell us how to use that power. The market economy gives us choices, but does not tell us which choices to make. The liberal democratic state, as a matter of principle, holds back from endorsing any particular way of life. The result is that contemporary culture sets before us an almost infinite range of possibilities, but does not tell us who we are, why we are here, and how we should live. Yet these are fundamental questions. Moses' first question to God in their first encounter at the burning bush was, "Who am I?" The plain sense of the verse is that it was a rhetorical question. Who am I to undertake the extraordinary task of leading an entire people to freedom? But beneath the plain sense was a genuine question of identity. Moses had been brought up by an Egyptian princess, the daughter of Pharaoh. When he rescued Jethro's daughters from the local Midianite shepherds, they went back and told their father, an Egyptian man delivered us. Moses looked and spoke like an Egyptian. He then married Zipporah, one of Jethro's daughters, and spent decades as a Midianite shepherd. The chronology is not entirely clear, but since he was a relatively young man when he went to Midian, and was 80 years old when he started leading the Israelites, he spent most of his adult life with his Midianite father-in-law tending his sheep. So when he asked God, who am I? Beneath the surface, there was a real question. Am I an Egyptian, a Midianite, or a Jew? By upbringing, he was an Egyptian. By experience, he was a Midianite. Yet what proved decisive was his ancestry. He was a descendant of Abraham, the child of Avram and Yocheved. When he asked God his second question, who are you? God first told him, I will be what I will be. But then he gave Moses a second answer. Say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Here too, there is a double sense. On the surface, God was telling Moses what to tell the Israelites when they asked, who sent you to us? But at a deeper level, the Torah is telling us about the nature of identity. The answer to the question, who am I, is not simply a matter of where I was born, where I spent my childhood or my adult life, or of which country I am a citizen. Nor is it answered in terms of what I do for a living or what are my interests and passions. These things are about where I am and what I am, but not who I am. God's answer, I am the God of your fathers, suggests some fundamental propositions. First, identity runs through genealogy. It is a matter of who my parents were, who their parents were, and so on. This is not always true. There are adopted children, there are children who make a conscious break from their parents. But for most of us, identity lies in uncovering the story of our ancestors, which in the case of Jews, given the unparalleled dislocations of Jewish life, is almost always a tale of journeys, courage, suffering, or escapes from freedom, and sheer endurance. Second, the genealogy itself tells a story. Immediately after telling Moses to tell the people he had been sent by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God continued, go, assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. It was not simply that God was the God of their ancestors. He was also the God who made certain promises, that he would bring them from slavery to freedom, from exile to the promised land. The Israelites were part of a narrative extended over time. They were part of an unfinished story, and God was about to write the next chapter. What is more, when God told Moses that he was the God of the Israelites' ancestors, he said, this is my eternal name. This is how I am to be recalled, Zichri, from generation to generation. God was here saying that he is beyond time. This is my eternal name. But when it comes to human understanding, he lives within time, from generation to generation. The way he does this is through the handling on of memory. This is how I am to be recalled. Identity is just not a matter of who my parents were. It is also a matter of what they remembered and handed on to me. Personal identity is shaped by individual memory. Group identity is formed by collective memory. All this is by way of prelude to a remarkable law in today's Parsha. It tells us that the first fruits were to be taken to the place God chooses, that is Jerusalem. They would be handed to the priest, and each was to make the following declaration. My father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down into Egypt with a few people and lived there and became a great, powerful, and populous nation. The Egyptians mistreated us and made us suffer, subjecting us to harsh labor. Then we cried out to the Lord, the God of our ancestors, and the Lord heard our voice and saw our suffering, our harsh labor, and our distress. The Lord then brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, with great fearsomeness and with signs and wonders. He brought us to this place and gave us this land flowing with milk and honey. And I am now bringing the first fruits of the soil that you, Lord, have given me. We know this passage because at least since Second Temple times it has been the central part of the Haggadah, the story we tell at the Seder table. But note that it was originally to be said on bringing first fruits, which was not on Passover. Usually it was done on Shavuot. What makes this law remarkable is this. We would expect, when celebrating the soil and its produce, to speak of the God of nature. But this text is not about nature. It is about history. It is about a distant ancestry, a wandering Aramaean. It is the story of our ancestors. It is a narrative explaining why I am here and why the people to whom I belong is what it is and where it is. There is nothing remotely like this in the ancient world, and there is nothing quite like it today. As Yosef Chaim Yerushalmi said in his classic book, Zachor, Jews were the first people to see God in history, the first to see an overarching meaning in history, and the first to make memory a religious duty. That is why Jewish identity has proven to be the most tenacious the world has ever known, the only identity ever sustained by a minority dispersed throughout the world for 2,000 years, one that eventually led Jews back to the land and state of Israel, turning Hebrew, the language of the Bible, into a living speech again after a lapse of many centuries in which it was used only for poetry and prayer. We are what we remember, and the first fruits declaration was a way of ensuring that Jews would never forget. In the past few years, a spate of books has appeared in the United States asking whether the American story is still being told, still being taught to children, still framing a history that speaks to all its citizens, reminding successive generations of the battles that had to be fought for there to be a new birth of freedom and the virtues needed for liberty to be sustained. The sense of crisis in each of these works is palpable, and though the authors come from very different positions in the political spectrum, their thesis is roughly the same. If you forget the story, you will lose your identity. There is such a thing as a national equivalent of Alzheimer's. Who we are depends on what we remember, and in the case of the contemporary West, a failure of collective memory poses a real and present danger to the future of liberty. Jews have told the story of who we are for longer and more devotedly than any other people on the face of the earth. That is what makes Jewish identity so rich and resonant. In an age in which computer and smartphone memories have grown so fast, from kilobytes to megabytes to gigabytes, while human memories have become so foreshortened, there is an important Jewish message to humanity as a whole. You can't delegate memory to machines. You have to renew it regularly and teach it to the next generation. Winston Churchill said, "The longer you can look back, the further you can see forward." Or to put it slightly differently, those who tell the story of their past have already begun to build their children's future. He's an amazing writer. Yeah. If you don't get his weekly portion, obviously he's passed away, so these are from before, but it's easy to subscribe to them and get them weekly and get them via email, and they're very, very insightful. Okay, we will begin the Musaf part of the service. Please rise, page 155, Chatzi Kaddish, which will be followed by an Amida, which will do the first couple pages together and then the rest of it silently. Page 155. Yitkarav, Yitkara, Shemei Rabba, B'yamad Yibrachi R'teh B'yamlich Malchuteh, V'chayechonu V'yomecha, V'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Ubizman Kori V'Meru, Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Li'olam Omel Me'omaya Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitruma v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitala shmei kedusha le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram v'yoma v'yimeru. The Amidah can be found starting on page 156b, We'll do 156b and the Kedusha and 157 together, and then please read silently from 158 to the conclusion of the Amidah, which will be found on page 161. Again, we start together in 156b. Ki Shem Adonai Yakra Havogadol Eloheinu Adonai Sfatai Tiftach Afi Yagiti Latecha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Velohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Elohei HaGadol HaGibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomei Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zecher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot Maybe go out like Abraham, the Manchino Biahava, Melech Aver for King Mashiach Umagin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Ufukate Sarah, Atagi Bor Lilam Adonai, Mechayim Etim Atarav Loshia, Morin Hata, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayim Etim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato, Vishene Afar, Michamocho Ba'al Gevuro, Umidom Melach, Melech Memid Umachayeh, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'nemanat Alachayot B'ti, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaMeitim. Naritzecha v'nakdishcha Kesod siach sarfei kodesh Hamakdishim shimcha b'kodesh Kakatu ayad neviecha V'kara ze'el ze' v'yamar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzivot Melech Haaretz Kivodo. Kivodo Molei Olam Mishar Tav Shoalim Shoalim Zelo Ze Aye Mekom Kivodo Mishar Tav Shoalim Shoalim Zelo Ze Aye Mekom Kivodo Limatam Baruch Yomeru Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkamo. Mimkamo Uyifen Berachamim V'yachon Am Yachadim Shemo Erev Avoker B'chol Yom Tamid Pamayim Li'ahava Shema Omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu V'hu Yashmienu B'rachamav Sheinu L'yenei kochai L'yot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem V'divrei kochaka katuv le'mor Loch Adonai le'olam Ha'isiyam l'dor v'ador Hallelujah l'dor v'ador nagid God lecha V'leneitach netzachim kedushachal nakdish V'shivchachal ha'rim v'hin Elohim Mishal le'olam ba'ed Ki HaMelech Gadol v'kadosh Atah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue on page 181 with the Kaddish Shalem. Please rise if you're able. Page 181. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrachi reteh v'yamlich malchuteh b'chayechanu v'yomechanu b'chayecha beit Yisrael b'agala b'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olam me'olam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalah shmei dekudashah. Le'ela min kaberchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran v'yama v'imru.
Amen.
Tikabel tzlaton v'oton t'choy Yisrael karama v'hundi v'shmaya v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'rmav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
You may be seated. We continue with page 182 with the In Kelohenu, page 182. In Kelohenu, in Kadonenu, in Kemalkenu, in Kemoshienu, mi Kelohenu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkenu, mi Chamoshienu, no del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atohu Eloheinu, Atohu Adonenu, Atohu Malkeinu, Atohu Moshienu, Atohu Shehitiru Avotenu Lifanecha Et Ketoret Hasamim En Kelohenu, En Kadonenu, En Kemalkenu, En Kemoshienu. As we turn to page 183 for Aleinu, please rise if you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, la'tekedu la'liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu k'yeharatzo, v'lo samanu g'mishpachot adamo, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chohamono, v'anachnu korim, u'mishachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Noteh Shamayim v'Yosei Haaretz, U'Moshe v'Karo b'Shamayim Yima'al, U'Shchinatu Zo, v'Gavhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu Efes U'Bato, Kakatu b'Torato, Yadata Yam V'Hashivota Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, B'Shamayim Mima'al, V'Yal Haaretz, Mitachat Einod. Okay, Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad u'shemo. As we turn to page 184 for the Mourner's Kaddish, please remain standing. We remember this week those who passed away within the last year. They include Adolf Breitman, Elena Drozdova, Rabbi Richard Safran, Dr. George Meschel, Ann Warpel, Solomon Kramer, Diane Pulaski, Audrey Gerson, B. Siegel, Louis Ruchman Warschauer, Harriet L. Krell, Shirley Gerber, Jacqueline K. Weber, June Schaefer. We also remember all those whose yortzites we observe this Shabbat. They include Abe Beck, Claire Beer, Irma Benson, Herbert Berger, Blanche Leiter Block, Anna Bluestein, Clara Brossler, Gita Bruckman, Dora Buxbaum, Joe Congress, Betty Dubinsky, Alex Feldman, Henry A. Fleck, William Gitlin, Dorothy B. Gold, Henry Grinsfelder, Susan Hakey, Morton F. Haslicher, Robert Johnson, Michael M. Katz, Asher Lechlegner Stoll, Howard Mayer, Rex P. Mercer, Hemming Uckstein, Betty Lehman Pollock, Marianne Rodman, Abner Rosenberg, Eugenia Russ, Dorothy R. Salin, Seymour Samet, Marilyn Sachs, Morris Schuster, Alfred Sakin, Abraham Siegel, Steve Weitzman, Nelson W. Williams, Henrietta Wolf, Golda Yaffe. Are there any names to add to the Yorkshire list? Okay. We also remember all those who died in the Shoah, the Holocaust, all those who gave their lives either to the Israeli Defense Forces or to the American Armed Forces. We also remember those who no one is saying Kaddish for this morning. Page 184. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, v'yamad divrachi v'tei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayi d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach li'olam olam e'omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha barichu, Ma'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, Shushbechata v'nechemata, V'amiran v'yoma v'imru amen. Yehei shlom rava min shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav, V'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. A few announcements before we conclude with Adon Olam. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Wishing everyone a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. We invite you to stop in the social hall after services to see an exhibit by artist Hilary Kucher called Unity with Variety that features portraits of people with diverse cultures living in Fort Wayne. It includes portraits of John Tam and also Fran and Irv Adler. Next Friday night, services will begin at 7:30 p.m. So we're moving to the fall Shabbat worship schedule. So next Friday night, it's at 7:30. If you want to get here at 6:30, you'll be an hour early, but we won't start until 7:30. Next Shabbat, we'll have services at 9:45 a.m. Hopefully the rabbi will be feeling better and he'll join us. Thoughtful Thursdays begins its 14th year on Wednesday. The assembly team is meeting at 10 a.m. at the temple. There is a Joy Vey Kiddush Shabbat on Friday, September 8th. That's at 5:30 p.m. And then apple picking and a potluck picnic on Sunday morning, September 10th. High holidays we know are coming up. So we have services next Saturday at 9:45. Next Saturday night, we'll be changing the Torah covers to white and sharing some meditative prayers and readings for Slichot. That'll be Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Erev Rosh Hashanah will begin in 2 weeks, Friday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. And the Erev Rosh Hashanah will be joint. Reform and Conservative minyanim will be together. And we'll split for Saturday morning. We'll have the separate conservative here, Reform and Sanctuary. And then Sunday, we'll have the second day here. Please check your temple communications for the full schedule, including RSVPing for Break the Fast. Sponsorship donations are available for the high holidays, and we thank Chris for security this morning and for, I forget his name again. What's your name again? Darren. I know it started with a D. And Darren for running Zoom and all those who made our minyan possible this morning. Okay, we will conclude. Yes.
One more thing.
Sure.
The service at the cemeteries is on the 10th.
Oh, I don't know why that wasn't here. Yes, but we'll remind you next Shabbat. Yeah. And I think, we'll both go to Lindenwood and the Jewish Cemetery on Decatur Road. Yeah, that's on the 10th, but I don't know why that didn't make the announcements, but I imagine it will be in the announcements next Shabbat. Okay, we finished this morning. We conclude with the Adon Olam on page 187. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'nasa V'chefso Kol Adon Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'nasa B'chefso Kol Adon Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu haya v'hu hoveh, v'hu yeh b'tifara. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'natza b'chefso Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'hu echad v'yein sheni L'ham shilo lehachbira B'li reshit b'li tachlit V'lo ha'od v'hamisra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'natza b'chefso Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'hu Eli v'chai go'ali V'tzorchev li b'yetzara V'hu nisi umanos li Minad kasi b'yom ekra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'natza b'chefso Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'yado avkid ruchi Yeti shan v'a'ira V'imruchi giviyati Adon Oli v'lo ira Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'natza b'chefso Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yeah. How long are you in town for?
Some people think too long. We're until Monday.
And from where are you traveling?
Chicago, outside Chicago.
Okay, so it's not too.
Decided to enjoy my brother's company.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you and helping with the service today and
Thank you.
having a double aliyah. That's always good. Yeah, yeah.
What was that sermon that was for who?
Here,
I wanna-
I just recycled anyway. Take it.
Oh, I
There
just like to
is
know.
an organization.
It's Rabbi.
from-
You can take it if you want. Really.
Okay, I just like to know who it is, because
It's Rabbi
this
Sachs.
was wonderful.
Jonathan Sachs. So SACHS,
He had been the chief rabbi, Lord
Chief Rabbi of
of the British Empire.
right.
And eloquent speech
Yeah.
about anti-Semitism in the parliament.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
he's
up there.
amazing.
Yeah, he is.
But you can look him up. He's got a lot of teachings. He's got the Parsha of the week. He's amazing.
He is amazing. When you're Hagba, you were leaving the Torah like this, and